Hi everyone, welcome to a brand new course. In this course, we will build a responsive job portal website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You guys will be amazed to know that this course is just a small portion of the mega course that I am preparing for you guys. I will talk about it in a minute. But if you are a beginner and interested in today's project, then don't worry. I will break down every process step by step of this project. That's why this course will be one of the best beginner-friendly free course out there on YouTube. Now, let me show you what we will build in this entire course. In our screen here you can see that we have a beautiful hero section of our job portal website. On the top left we have our beautiful logo, JS tag, and in the right side we have our nav links. And here in the middle we have a heading, we have some text, we have a search option, we have a search button, and we have a beautiful image here as well. Now if I scroll down a little bit, here you can see that we have a feature section, and in this feature section we have heading, we have text, and we have 4 features. And inside each of these features we have one image, we have a feature title, and we have a feature text also. And underneath of our this section we have a job in demand section. And here you can see that we have heading, we have text, and we have a filter as well. And underneath of our filter we have a listing of jobs. And right now all the recent jobs are showing. But if I click on this freelancer button, then only freelancer related jobs will be showing inside here. Now let me show you. If I click on this freelancer button, here you can see that we have now only one job with freelancer. Now if I select the full-time, here you can see that we have 2 full-time jobs and we have 2 part-time jobs as well. Now let's click on the recent jobs again, and here we can see all the job listings. And underneath of this section we have a company section, and for this company section we have a heading, we have a text, and we have some company logos. And then here you can see that we have a highest rated freelancer sections as well. And for this section we have our heading, we have our text, and then we have 4 profile card also. And inside of this profile card we have the person's image, we have the person's name, we have the hashtags, and then we have a button for view profile. And underneath of this profile section we have a beautiful footer, and inside our footer we have our logo, we have our text, and in the right side we have our social media icons, and then we have some links as well in our footer. And this is the home page of our project. Now if I click on this browse jobs, here you can see that we have another page, and in this page we have a heading, we have a text, and we have a search option as well. And underneath of our search bar we have our job listing, and then we have our footer. Now if I search by web developer, here you can see that right now we can see only 2 jobs available related to web developer. But if I search by business, and here you can see that we have only 1 job available for the business associate position. And if I clear the search bar, now we can see all the jobs which are listed in our website. Now if I click one of these listings, it will actually show us more details about that individual listing. Suppose if I click on this freelancer listing, here you can see that now we can see the complete details of this job listing. On the top we have our company name, the location, the logo, and here in the right side we have our apply button as well. And underneath of this section we have some details about vacancy, the position, hours, and salary as well. And underneath it we have our job description, our employment status, workplace, educational requirements, and experience requirements as well. Now let me go back, and if I click on this digital marketing job, here you can see that now we have another company, another location, another logo, and we have an apply button. Also we have some change in these details as well. Basically what we are doing here is we have actually created only one template for this details, and our every job listing is actually using that one single template and adding their own details in that template. And this is what we call dynamic website. It means we have just only created one single template, and that one single template is using by our all the job listings available here in our website. Okay, so after our job listing, let's go to our contact page. And here in our contact page, we have two sections. In the left section, we have a heading, we have a text, and we have a beautiful image as well. And in the right section, we have a form. And here we have included name field, email field, message field, and a button as well. By the way, this form is actually working. If someone add a name, email, and a message and click on the submit button, then we will get that message or email in our email box. And underneath of this, we have a beautiful map, and this map is showing our company location. And underneath of this, we have our footer as well. Now let's show you if this email section is working or not. Okay, right now in my screen, you can see that in the left side, we have our email box, and in the right side, we have our email form. Now what I will do is, I will fill up this email form and submit this email, so that you can see the email appearing in my email box right away. Now let's first add a name, and the name will be demo. Then the email address will be info@tech2etc.com, and the message will be, hi, this is a test. Now if I click on this submit button, here you can see that we have a text saying email sent successfully. And boom, here you can see that in just a second, we have our email in our email box. Now if I open this email is now showing a heading, the email address, and the email text as well. So now you can see that in this course, not only we are going to learn how to create a dynamic website, how to create templates, but also we are going to see how to create a working contact form using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP. And as I said earlier, this project is completely responsive. It means our website will be looking good in our large screen device and in our small screen device as well. Here you can see that right now our website is in a small screen device, and in our small screen device we have our logo, but we don't have our nav links in the right side. Instead, we have a hamburger menu, and if I click on this hamburger menu, our nav links are sliding from the right side. And if I click our hamburger menu again, our nav links just disappears. And here we have a heading, we have a text, and we have a search section. Underneath of this, we have our feature section. Then we have our job in demand section. And here you can see that now we can actually slide this filter section as well. Previously in our large screen device, our job listings were in a listing order, but right now in our small screen device, they are taking a card styling. And if I click the freelancer section, here you can see that we have our only one job with freelancer and then full time. After this section, here you can see that we have our company trust, and then we have our highest rated freelancer section. Then we have our footer. Now let's go to the browse jobs, and here you can see that we have a search option, we have our job listing. Now let's click on this first job listing, and here you can see that our complete structure is now maintaining the width of a small screen device, and this job details page is also looking good. Now let's go to our contact page, and here you can see that we have our beautiful contact page with our map and our contact form. So that's it guys, this is the website, this is the project we are going to build throughout our entire course. Now that you have seen what we will build in this course, you should also know what we will learn while completing this project. Because to becoming a good developer, not only you should build projects, but also you should know the fundamentals of web design to create stunning designs and effects, how to build amazing professional and responsive designs using media queries, modern CSS techniques including Flexbox and CSS Grid for layout, use of common components and layout patterns for professional website design and development, optimize website performance for faster load time and smoother experience, JavaScript basic to advanced concepts, leverage conditional logic and loops for dynamic content generation, manipulate the DOM to update web pages dynamically, and many more other things as well. For preparing a well-explained qualityful course and project like this, I had to spend a couple of months to stack everything into a single pack. In this course, not only you will find knowledge, but also my hard work and love for teaching you guys. And if you think this course is helpful, then please do subscribe this channel, like this video and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if this video gets 5000 likes, then we will start doing more project-based courses in the future. And officially, this is the first part of our course. For part 2 of this course, check the link in the description. Before we start building our project, let's first get the hosting and domain name for our project. Hostinger is my personal recommendation, and right now they are offering amazing deals, so I need to share this with you. They offer a great price to quality ratio, high-speed servers, and most importantly, 24/7 chat support. For this specific project, I will choose their business plan. With just $3.99, you can host 100 websites and get many more features. But if you are a beginner, then you can choose the premium plan as well. I am choosing their business plan because it is more optimized for better performance. Also, we will get this free CDN out of the box, which means you will have better security against DNS attacks and most importantly, less loading time. Also, it offers a few great things such as a free email account, a free SSL, and a free domain name as well. Since I have partnered with Hostinger, they decided to give you an even bigger discount. You can find the link and the discount code in the description, or you can just visit hostinger.com/tech2etc. Once you visit the link in the description, let's choose a plan. I have selected the business hosting, and here we have to choose the period of our hosting. Now, here is the thing. If you want to save the most amount of money, then go for the longest period of time. Down below, you have to create an account, and after that, you have to select your payment. After selecting a payment method, then fill out all this information. Then you can enter your coupon code as well, which is going to be tech2etc, all uppercase. And that's going to give you an even bigger discount on your hosting package. And if I click on this apply button, and here you can see that we have our discounted price. After you purchase it, you will be redirected to the Hostinger's dashboard. In the dashboard, you will see a similar interface like this one. And from here, you have to complete these 3 tasks. But first, I will claim our free domain. And my domain name for this project will be mega by tech2etc. And from this extension, I'm going to select the .com, and then let's check the availability. And here you can see that our mega by tech2etc.com is available. Now let's claim the domain. And from here, you have to select your region, and I'm going to select Bangladesh, and it will be a personal website, and then click on the next step. And here you have to give your first name, last name, region, city, address, zip code, and your phone number as well. And after filling out all the information, let's click on the finish registration button. And here you can see that our domain name is being set up. Now let's click on this continue button. And from here I will click skip. I don't need a website. And from here you have to simply verify your email address. And after verifying your email address, just click on this check again. And here you can see that your email address has been successfully verified. After this one, let's go to our home. We have only 2 tasks to complete. Now, after creating our first part of our project, we are going to come back to our Hostinger's dashboard again, and then we are going to set up our hosting. So now, let's get started building our project. For starting this project, find the link of this repo from my description and then download this repo or clone this repo. For me, I will just simply download the zip, save it in my computer, and find that zip file, extract it, and here you go, the complete base file of our project. Now what you have to do, just simply drag that folder inside your favorite code editor. That's it. And in the left side here you can see that we have a images folder, and inside this folder we have all the images which we are going to use for our project. And then we have an index file, and here inside our index file we have a simple HTML boilerplate where I have linked the style sheet. And here you can see that inside our style sheet we have our Google font pop-in, and we have some basic pre-styling. Then we have our body, and here we have some global CSS. And inside this global CSS I have only written those stylings which I'm going to use most of the time inside our project. Here I have some styling for H1, I have some styling for H2 and H3. Then we have some spacing for sections. Then we have some extra spacing and object width. In this website project, I'm not only going to show you how to style a website, but also I will show you how to minimize the styling code like a professional. I will show you the work of these stylings in a bit, but here we have a toggle.js file as well, and this file is now empty. We are going to write our JS script inside this file. Now let's open our index file, and here inside our index file we have linked our style sheet. Also we have linked our toggle.js. Okay, now here I will show you some examples for our global stylings, because I want to show you how our global styling works. Okay, right now in our screen you can see that we have H1, we have H2 and we have H3. Inside our project, for our heading purposes, we are going to use only these three headings, H1, H2 and H3. And I have written the stylings for H1, H2 and H3 in my global stylings. It means whenever I use H1, H2 or H3 inside my project, I don't need to style them in different sections or for specific times. They will follow the stylings which I have given inside here. Now let's show you what I have meant by that. I will simply save the file and start our live server. And here you can see that we have our H1, H2 and H3. And I hope you noticed that the font family is different because I have already added the Google font which is popping inside our style sheet. Okay, this is what pretty much you are going to find inside that base repository. Just find the link of this repo from my description and clone this repo inside your computer. After that you are good to go. Now let's start building our project. Here in our project, the first thing what we are going to build is the Navbar. Here you can see that on the top we have a section and this is called the Navbar. And inside that Navbar, in the left side we have our logo, and in the right side we have some nav links. And now I'm going to show you how to create a Navbar for a website. So let's do it. Now for better visibility, I will simply close the sidebar and then divide the screen. Now let's go to our empty project, and underneath of our header, I'm going to start building our Navbar. So that's why first I'm going to take a header tag, and here I'm going to use a div tag, and inside this div tag I'm going to first add our logo. So that's why I'm going to create an anchor tag, and here inside our href I will link our index.html, because if anyone clicks on the logo, then I want them to redirect in our index.html file. And here inside our anchor tag I'm going to create an image, and here the source will be images/logo.png. Now save, and here you can see that we have our logo. And inside our image tag I'm going to create a class name, and the class name will be logo as well. That's it. Now after our anchor tag, after our logo, I'm going to start creating our nav links. So that's why I'm going to create another list, and here I'm going to create a list tag, and inside our list tag I'm going to create an anchor tag, and our first link will be for our home. Now I will simply copy this list tag and then paste it 2 or 3 more times, and the second one will be browse jobs. Then the third one will be contact, and the last one will be a button. if we go to our project, at the last we have a join button. So that's why here instead of list, I'm going to create a button tag and it will be join. Now save. And here you can see that we have our home, browse jobs, contact and join button. That's it guys. We have simply created our HTML structure for our Navbar. Now I want to style the Navbar. So for doing that, let's go inside our style sheet. And underneath of our global CSS, I'm going to add a comment. And it will be Navbar. That's it. Now let's go to our index file. And from here, I will simply copy this header tag and then paste it here. First of all, I'm going to add a background color. And the background color will be this. Now save. After this, here you can see that we have all the nav links, but this nav link is not visible. So we have to change the color of this nav links. So that's why what I'm going to do is, here you can see that we have another list, and inside our another list we have all the links. So what I'm going to do is, here in our another list, I'm going to add an ID, and the ID will be menu. Save and copy this ID, then paste it here, and then I will target the link and then the anchor text. And here I will simply use the color, and the color will be white. That's it. Now here you can see that our logo and this nav links is now in one column, but I want them in one row side by side. So that's why what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go inside my index, and here you can see that we have a div tag. Now I will simply create another ID here inside our div tag, and the ID name will be Navbar. That's it. And inside this div tag, we have two properties. One is our anchor tag and one is this nav links. So I will simply copy this Navbar ID and then paste it here. And because I want them to be in one row, so that's why I'm going to use display flex. Now save. And here you can see that they are now in one row. And now I want to add some space in between of them. So that's why I'm going to use justify content, and it will be a space between. And then I will also use align items center. Now save. And here you can see that we have now a space in between them. Okay, so after this, we have to now fix our logo size. So that's why I will simply copy this navbar and then paste it here. And inside our navbar div, we have a class name of logo for our logo. So I will simply copy this class name and then paste it here. Then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a width of 120 pixels. Now save. And here you can see that we have our beautiful logo. Okay, after our logo, in the right side here you can see that we have our nav links. This nav links is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why I will simply copy this menu and then paste it here. Then I will use display flex again. Then I will use justify content flex end, because I want them to be always in the end of our row. And here I will use align items center, and I don't want any bullet points, so that's why list as style will be none. Now save, and here you can see that they are now in one row. The height of this navbar is too small, and it will not look good inside our project. So that's why I'm going to add a height inside my navbar, and here the height will be 80 pixels. Now save, and here you can see that we have our beautiful navbar. Okay, after this what I'm going to fix is, here you can see that in between of these nav links we don't have any space, and also we have these underlines, and I don't want them. So that's why what I'm going to do is, I will simply go inside our anchor tag. First of all, I will remove the underline, so that's why text decoration will be none. And then I want some spacing from the left, so that's why I will use margin left 40 pixel. And I will use a font size of 1.1 rem. Then I will use a font width of 500. Now save. And here you can see that our nav links is now looking pretty good. Okay, now let's simply decrease the screen size. That's it. So after this, here you can see that we have our join button. and this join button is not looking good. And that's why now we have to style our join button. Now for styling our join button, what we have to do is we have to go inside our index, and here you can see that we have our button tag. Now what we have to do is I'm going to use an ID inside our button, and the ID name will be w-btn. So this is the short form of white button because we have to make this button white like this. And one thing I want you guys to know is that this button will not be the only one button inside our website. And that's why I'm going to show you how we can simply create one global CSS button styling and use that same button styling on pretty much all of the buttons. So for do that, what we have to do, we have to simply copy this ID from here inside our index, and then go to our style sheet, and then go to the global stylings. After our h3, I'm going to add our button ID, and here I'm going to add some stylings. First of all, I will add some margin left because we don't have any space from the left side, and it will be 14 pixel. Then I want a background, and the background color will be white. Then I will simply change the color of text, and the text color will be this one. Then I want to add some padding, and padding from top and bottom will be 9 pixel. From left and right it will be 30 pixel. Then I want a border radius, and it will be 20 pixel. Now save, and here you can see that we have now our beautiful button. Now I want to style it more, so that's why I'm going to use a font size of 1.2 rem. Then I will use a font weight of 500. Then I don't need any box shadow, so that's why it will be none. And I don't need any border as well, so that's why it will be none. Now save, and here you can see that we have our beautiful giant button. Okay guys, here you can see that we have simply created our Navbar using HTML and CSS. Now if I maximize our window, here you can see that the Navbar of this website is too big. It is taking the complete width of this window, and that's why it is not looking professional. So what I'm going to do is, if I go our project, here you can see that our Navbar is only taking a certain width of this window, and I want to do the same for our project. So for doing this, let's go inside our index.html file, and here you can see that we have our header, and inside our header we have our objects. Now I want these objects to take a specific width, and for doing that we have already created a global CSS. Here you can see that this global class is containing max width of 1200 pixel and a margin auto. Now what we are going to do is we are going to simply add this class name inside our this div container. So what you have to do, you have to create a class, and this class name will be object width. Now if I simply save this file, boom guys, here we can see that the Navbar of our project is now taking 1200 pixel of width, and now it is looking professional. Now we can use this global CSS class name inside pretty much all of the components in our website. Okay, so after creating our Navbar, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this Navbar responsive, because in our large screen device this Navbar is looking good, but in our small screen device this Navbar will not look good. Let me just show you. I will simply inspect the website, and if I choose a mobile screen device, here you can see that our Navbar is not looking good. So what we have to do is we have to make our Navbar responsive. Okay, now if I go in our actual project, in our large screen, here you can see that we have our this complete Navbar. But if I reduce the screen, if I go inside a mobile screen device, here you can see that we only have our logo, but we don't have any nav links. But instead of nav links, now we have a hamburger menu. If I now click on the hamburger menu, here you can see that we have our nav links sliding from the right side. And now I want to do the same for our this website as well. So for doing that, first we have to insert our this hamburger menu. So for inserting this hamburger menu, we have to simply open a new tab and search for box icons. And from here, click the first link. And from the top, you will find a usage button. Simply click on that. And if you scroll down, here you will find usage as a font. Now what you have to do, you just have to simply copy this link from here and then go inside our index, inside our head tag, and then paste the link tag inside our head tag. Now save. And now we can use the box icons inside our project. So now let's go to the home page of our box icons. And here I will search for menu. And here you can see that we have our menu icon. Now simply click on that icon. And here we will find two options. One is web component and one is font. Since we have used the font link, so that's why I will simply choose the font. And from here I will simply copy this icon. And underneath of our another list, I will simply paste that icon. And inside our icon, I will use an ID, and the ID will be bar. Now save. And if I go to our website, here you can see that in the very right, we have a black icon, hamburger icon. Now we have to style this icon. So for doing that, let's go to our style sheet. And here we have to simply add the var ID. First of all, I will change the color, and the color will be white. Now save. And here you can see that we have our white hamburger menu. Now in our large screen device, I don't want to show this hamburger menu. I only want to show this hamburger menu when we are in a mobile screen device. So that's why initially I will hide our hamburger menu. So that's why it will be display none. And here you can see that in our large screen device, the hamburger menu is not visible. Now for making our Navbar responsive, we have to use media query. So that's why let's use media query. And here we have to use a breakpoint. So let's add max width. And for a small screen device, the breakpoint will be 699 pixel. That's it. Now let's inspect the website. And from here, I will choose a mobile screen device. That's it. And here you can see that the nav links is not looking good in a small screen device. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to click on this arrow icon, and then I will hover our cursor inside in the parent div of our this nav links, which is UL, and the ID is menu. And here you can see that we have some stylings for our this nav links. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to click right on this ID and then click on this copy rule, and then I will simply paste the rules here. And here you can see that we have some stylings which we have created while we are styling our Navbar for large screen device. Now in our small screen device, I want to change some stylings from inside our this menu ID. So that's why what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use display block. And then now you can see that they are now in one column again. And then now here I want to add some width, and the width will be 280 pixel, because if I go to our website, here you can see that we have a container here, and the width of this container is 280 pixel. So that's why the width is 280 pixel. And then I will use a height, and it will be auto. Now save. That's it. Now it is taking 280 pixel. But for now we cannot see the space. So that's why I'm going to use a background color so that you guys can see what is going inside this container. So for now the color will be aqua. Okay, now here you can see that the container is taking 280 pixel and the height is auto. Now what I want to do is, I want to place this container underneath of our this Navbar like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use position for that, and the position will be absolute. And then I will use top will be 80 pixel. Then right will be 0. Now save. That's it. Now what I want to do is I want to add some spacing on the top, on the bottom of our this menu ID. So that's why let's add some padding, and the padding from top and bottom would be 30 pixel. From left and right it will be 0. Then I will use a box shadow, and the box shadow will be 0 pixel from X, 2 pixel from Y, and the depth of the shadow will be 10 pixel. And then we are going to use a RGB color, which will be 0, 0, 0 and 0.2. Now save. And here you can see that we have a beautiful box shadow underneath of our this container. If I go to our website, here you can see that the hamburger menu is visible inside a small screen device. So that's why what we have to do is, here in the right side, we have our bar ID, which is the hamburger menu. So I will simply click on this icon, and here we have the stylings for that icon. So I will simply copy these rules from here and then paste it here. And now I don't want to change the color, but here instead of display none, it will be block. Now here you can see that we have our hamburger menu. Okay, now let's style it. Let's change the font size, and it will be 1.7 rem. Then I want a cursor pointer on that icon. Now save. Here you can see that the hamburger menu is now much bigger. Now after this, I want to style our these nav links. These nav links is now too close to each other, but I want to add some spacing in between them. So that's why I will simply select the arrow and then go hover on the nav links. And here we have the stylings for our nav links. So I will simply copy the rule from here and then paste it here. And from inside our anchor, I don't want to change anything. I will simply change the color. So the color will be this one. Now save. And here you can see that we have now changed the color, but I still want to add some spacing. So that's why I will simply copy this list and menu ID. Then I will add some padding, and a padding will be 1 rem. Now save. And here you can see that we have now spacing on the top and on the bottom of our nav links. Okay, so after that, what I'm going to do is I want to make our this hamburger menu working. It means initially I don't want to see any nav links, but if as soon as I click on the hamburger menu, then I want our these nav links to show. So for making our this hamburger menu icon, we have to write a simple JavaScript code. And for that specific purpose, we have a toggle.js file inside our folder. So I'm going to simply open that toggle.js file. And here first I will create a variable, and the variable will be bar. And this bar variable will contain our this hamburger menu. So that's why we have to use document.getElementById. And remember, we have our ID for our this bar icon, which is bar. Now I will simply copy this ID and then paste it here. Now as soon as I click on this hamburger icon, I want to show up our menu. So that's why we have to create another variable for our menu. So the variable name will be menu, and then we have to use document.getElementById. And for our menu, we have another ID, which is menu. Now I will simply copy this menu and then paste it here. That's it. Now here we have to use a if condition. So let's create it. Here we have two things. One is bar and another one is menu. So I want to activate our this menu whenever I click on this hamburger icon. So that's why we have to take the bar. If the bar, okay. If the bar is clicked, then only I want to show our menu. So that's why we have to use our bar, and then we have to add a event listener, which will be click. And if anyone click on our hamburger icon, then I want to run a arrow function. And inside our arrow function, I want to open our menu. So that's why I'm taking our menu, and then I want to add a class list, and I want to toggle that class list. So that's why we have to use toggle function. And then we have to simply add that class name. So the class name will be active. Now you might be wondering from where I'm getting this active class. Yes, you are right. We didn't created this active class yet. Now I'm going to create this active class. But before we do that, here you have to remember one thing is that I'm going to use this active class for only our menu. So now let's go to our style sheet, and here you can see that we have our menu. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply copy this menu and then paste it here. Then I will create that active class. And inside this active class, I will simply tweak some of the properties which we have used in our menu ID. So the first property I'm going to tweak is the right value. And here the right value will be 10 pixel. But in our actual menu, the right is 0. Now I will change the value of this initial menu, and this one will be minus 100%. Now if I go to our website, and here you can see that right now it is showing our menu. But if I save this file, if I save our style sheet, here you can see that our menu is now gone. Now if I click on this hamburger icon, here you can see that as soon as I click on this hamburger icon, we can now see our menu. If I click on this hamburger icon again, now our menu is vanished. If I now click again, it is now showing up again. So what is happening here is we are simply changing the right value for this menu using this active class. In our initial menu, the right is minus 100%, which is this state. We cannot see anything because the menu is now minus 100% of the right side. But in our menu.active class, we have changed the right value, which is now 10 pixel. It means if I click on this hamburger menu icon, the menu from the right, it will simply swipe the menu inside our screen. And this is what happening inside our toggle.js. We are using a if condition for our bar, and if the bar is clicked, then we are simply toggling the active class from our menu. Very simple, guys. Now I will simply close the toggle and save our website. And now I will simply style our this appearance. Here I have used background color aqua, but now I will change the background color to white. Also, I will use border radius, and the border radius will be 13 pixel. Then initially the opacity of our this menu will be 0, and in our menu.active the opacity will be back to 1. Now save. Now here you can see that we have a white background and we have our box shadow, and then we have also our border radius. Now if I click on our hamburger icon, here you can see that the menu just disappear. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some animation because the swiping effect is now happening too fast, but I want to slow it down a little bit. So that's why I will use a transition, and the transition will be all 0.3 second is. Now save, and if I now click, here you can see that now we can see the sliding effect. Okay, now here you can see that the join button is not looking good because the background color of our button is white. Also the background color of our this container is white. So now we have to change the colors. So for doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply click on our button, and here we have our button rules. I will simply paste them here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse the colors. It means the background color will be this and the text color will be white, and then I don't want to change anything from here. Now save, and then now I want to add the same margin from the left side of our this button. So that's why here I will simply use margin, and margin from top will be 20 pixel, then from right 0, from bottom 0, and from left it will be 50 pixel. Now save. That's it. So guys, here you can see that we have successfully make our Navbar responsive, and this Navbar is now looking good for our large screen device and for our small screen device as well. And after creating our Navbar, I want to create our this hero section. So for creating this hero section, let's go to our index, and underneath of our this hero section, let's create a section, and here I will use a class, and the class name will be hero. Then I will create a div tag, and the class name of this div tag will be hero box. And inside this div tag, I'm going to create two different div tag. One is for our this left side, and the one is for our this right side. So that's why let's create a div tag, and the class name of this left div tag will be h left. Now I will simply copy this div tag and then paste it one more time, and the class name for this div tag will be h right. That's it. Now inside our this h left div tag, I'm going to create a h2 tag, and for our h2, this one will be our text. That's it. And then I want to create a paragraph, and the text will be this one. And then I want to create our this search option. So for that, let's create a div tag, and the class name of this div tag will be search. Here first I want to create an input. For our input field, type will be text, and then we have to add a placeholder, and the placeholder will be search your job here. That's it. And then we have to create an anchor tag. Right now the anchor tag will be hash, and the button name will be search. Now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our h2, our paragraph, and our this search field, and our search button. After this, I want to import our this image as well. So that's why inside our h right div tag, I'm going to create an image tag, and the source will be inside our images folder. I have a hero1.png. Now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our image. Now this hero section is not looking professional at all. So that's why we have to style our this hero section. So for doing that, let's go inside our style sheet, and underneath of our bar, let's create a comment, and it will be hero. First of all, I'm going to take our this hero class name and then paste it here. First of all, I will set the background color, and the background color will be this. Now save, and here you can see that we have now a different background color. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply copy our this hero box class name and then paste it here. And inside our hero box, we have our two div. One is our h left, and another one is our h right. And both of these div tag is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why here I want to use display flex, then justify content will be a space between. Now save, and here you can see that this text and our this image is now in one row. And here I'm going to add a height of 100 VH. Then I want to use align items center. That's it. Now first of all, I want to fix the height of our this image, because this image is now too big for our website. So I want to fix this. So for doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our this h right class name and then paste it here. First of all, I will use a width of 50% for our h right div. Then I'm going to target our image inside of it, and the width will be 100%, and the object fit will be over. Now save. But now the image is looking too small because we didn't fix any width for our this h left section. So that's why I'm going to simply take our this class name h left and then paste it here. I'm going to fix a width, and width will be 45%. Then I want to change the colors of the text and it will be white. Now save. One thing I have noticed is that the size of this heading is small than this. I think it is because we have used a wrong heading. Here instead of H2 it will be H1. Now save, and if I go to our website, and here you can see that our heading is taking perfect size. That's it. After this I want to style this paragraph. So that's why I want to take our H left and then paste it here. Then target our paragraph. I only want to add some padding, and padding from top and bottom will be 1.5 frame. From left and right it will be 0. That's it. Now we have some space on the top and bottom. So after our paragraph I want to style this search option. So for doing that, let's go to our index, and here we have a class name search. It will be search. That's it. We have a class name search. Now I will simply copy this search class name and then paste it here. First of all, I will use position relative. That's it. After this, I will target our input. Now I want to style this input section. So that's why first of all I'm going to use width of 100% because I want this input section to take the complete space. That's why it will be with 100%. Then I will use a height, and the height will be 4 rem. Then I will add a border radius and it will be 35 pixel. Then I will use a padding, and the padding from top and bottom will be 0. From left and right it will be 20 pixel. Now save, and here you can see that we have our input field, but I want to style it more. So that's why I want to use a font size of 1 rem. Then I don't want any outline, and I don't want any border as well. Now save. After this I want to style this button. So for styling this button, let's take this search class name and then paste it here. Then I want to target our anchor tag. Right now the button is underneath of our input section, but I want to position this button in the middle of this input section. So that's why I'm going to use position absolute. Then top will be 12 pixel and the right will be 20 pixel. Now save, and here you can see that we have our search button. Now one thing you have to know, if you are using position absolute inside a child element, then you have to must use position relative for the parent element. If I don't use position relative here, and if I save, and here you can see that the search button is not showing, and I don't know where the search button is right now. Okay, so this search button is now on the top right corner. So that's why you have to remember, if you are using position absolute for a child element, then you must have to use position relative for the parent element. Now save, and here you can see that the search is now back to its position. Now I want to style this search button, but let's go inside this anchor tag. Okay, here I'm going to create an ID. And if you guys remember, we have already created a global button styling, which is W button. So I will simply copy this class name and then paste it here. Now save. Okay, so this is our button. Here you can see that we have the text and we have a white background like this one. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to simply use a different ID for this button, because here you can see that we have a button, and this button is actually used pretty much here and then here as well. So that's why I'm going to create a separate global button for this search button. So the button ID name will be different and it will be G button. Now I will simply copy this G button and then paste it here. And for this button, first of all, I don't want to have any underline. So that's why text decoration will be none. Then I want to add a background color, and the background color will not be this one. I want a lighter version of this. That's why the color will be this one. That's it. And then I want to change the color of text, which will be white. Then I want to change the padding. Padding from top and bottom will be 9 pixel. From left and right it will be 30 pixel. And I will use a border radius, and it will be 20 pixel. Then I will use a cursor pointer. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that we have a different styling button here. And we have successfully created our hero section. Now if I maximize the size, here you can see that again this hero section is taking the complete width of our window, which is not professional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a global class inside this hero box, and the class name, obviously you guys know it is object width. Now save, and here you can see that boom, our section is now taking only 1200 pixel of our screen. Now here you can see that in our large screen device the hero section is looking perfect, but in our small screen device the hero section will not look good. So that's why we have to make our hero section responsive as well. But before we do that, here you can see that if I scroll down, our Navbar is actually hiding underneath of this browser section, but I don't want that. If I go to our actual project, here you can see that if I scroll down, the Navbar is actually always on the top. Okay, and I want this in this project as well. So for doing that, let's go to our style sheet and let's go inside our header, and here we have to add some styling. Here we have to use position fixed. Then we have to use the top value, and it will be 0, and the right will be 0 as well. And here I want it to take the 100% of width, and I will use a z index of 99 because I want this Navbar to be always on the top. So that's why z index 99. Now save, and here you can see that this Navbar is now static, but we cannot scroll down because we don't have any other element underneath of our hero section. But I will still show you. Let's go inside our hero. Here you can see that we have a height of 100 VH. Let's increase it for now 200 VH, and here you can see that if I now scroll down, our Navbar is now on the top, and it is now a static Navbar. And here you go. You have learned one more thing, which is how to create a static Navbar for a website. Pretty cool, right? Now let's decrease the height and back to 100 VH. That's it. Now let's make this hero section responsive. That's why let's inspect the website, and then let's go inside our media query. First of all, what I have to do, here you can see that this section and this image section is now in one row, but in our small screen device I want them in one column. So that's why I will simply click the arrow and then take the parent element of this hero section, and here we have the stylings. Now I will simply copy the rule from here and then paste it here. Here we have our display flex, and the display flex means the two properties is now in one row, but I want to change them, and I want to position them in one column. So that's why flex direction will be column. Now save, and here you can see that we have this text and this image in one column, but right now the height is not responsive. So here we have height is 100 VH, but I will change it to auto. Now save, and here the justify content is a space between, but it will be center, and the align items will be start. Now save. Now all the section is now in the left side. After this one, here you can see that this text is not taking the complete width of this window. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply select this edge left from our developer section, and here you can see that we have a width of 45%. Now I will simply change the width. So that's why copy the rule and then paste it here. I don't want to change the color, but I will definitely change the width and it will be 100%. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that it is now taking 100% of width. Right now we have our initial position. In the first we have our this section, and at the second position we have our this image position. But what if you want to reverse the position? It means the image will be on the top and the text will be underneath of that. So for doing that, what you can do is, instead of just flex direction column, you can use column reverse. Now save, and here you can see that the image is now on the top. Now what I want to do is, in our small screen device, I want to hide our this image. So for doing that, I will simply take our h right, which is a width of 50%. So I will simply copy this h right and then paste it here. And instead of width, I will use display none. Now save, and here you can see that in our small screen device, our image is now hidden. After doing that, here we have to solve one more issue. We don't have enough spacing from the top and bottom of our this hero section. So that's why I will simply go inside our hero box, and here I will use a padding. Padding from top and bottom will be 8 rem, from left and right it will be 0. Now save. Perfect. Now we have enough spacing on the top and on the bottom. That's it guys. Here you can see that we have successfully created our hero section. And also we have made our hero section responsive. And this hero section is looking much professional right now. After creating our hero section, we have to start creating our this feature section. While doing this course along with me, you won't even realize you have learned a lot of valuable techniques to improve your web development journey. Now imagine, from this one single course, if you can learn all of these things, then what you will learn from the mega course that I have been preparing for the last 1 year. Yes, as I said at the beginning, this course is just a small portion of the mega course that I am preparing for you guys. Do you want to know more about the mega course? Well, for now I can only say that there will be multiple mini courses like this one in that one mega course. By the way, this one single mini course itself can be up to 4 hours long and in multiple parts. Then guess, what will be the actual length of our mega course? Let me know your guesses in the comment section, and if you are interested in my mega course that I have been preparing for the last 1 year, then I have a form that you have to fill out. You will find the form link in the description, because first 100 people of you will get a 50% discount for this course. That's enough for introduction and announcements. Now let's start building our project. For creating our feature section, now let's go to our code editor and let's go inside our index.html file. And underneath of our hero section, we have a feature section. We have to create our feature section here. So for creating this feature section, let's create a section, and here we have to add a class name, and the class name of this section will be features. And inside this section, let's create a h2 tag, and the h2 will be this one. And then let's create a paragraph, and the paragraph will be this one. And underneath of our this h2 and paragraph, let's create a div tag so that we can create our these sections. So for creating these sections inside our this div tag, what we have to do, we have to first add a class name, and the class name will be febox, and this div tag will be a parent div tag, and these things will be a child. Okay, so that's why we have to create some child div tags. And inside this child div tag, first of all, we have to use an image. So that's why let's create an image tag, and the source will be images/fe1.png. That's it. And underneath of our image, let's create a h3 tag for our this small headings, and then let's create a paragraph for our this text. Now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our h2 heading, which is the section heading, and then we have our paragraph, we have our image, a smaller heading, and our text as well. Now I will simply copy this div tag and then paste it 3 more times. That's it. And then from here, I will simply change the image names. Here it will be FE2 and then it will be FE3 and then it will be FE4. Also, we have to change the smaller headings as well. So the second one will be this one and the third one will be pay safely. And the fourth one will be the support system. This one. That's it. Now save, and if we go to our website, here you can see that we have our 4 different div tag. Now that is it for our HTML. Now let's go in our style sheet and style this section. Okay, before I do that, here you can see that we have our hero section and we have our this feature section, but in between them we don't have any space. So for adding section space, I have created a global CSS here. If we go to the top, here you can see that you will find a global CSS and the class name is section space. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside our index.html file, and here in our section, in our feature class, I will simply use that global class name, which is section space. Now save, and here you can see that we have now some spacing on the top and on the bottom as well. See? Now also beside this, I want to use our object with global CSS as well, so that this section also take the fixed width from a window. So after doing this, let's go to our style sheet. But before we go there, let's copy these feature class names from here. And underneath of our hrite, and let's paste the features class name. Here you can see that these children div tags are actually now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why I will simply go inside our index, and here we have to target our parent div of our this children divs. Now I will simply copy this class name of this parent div and then paste it here. And here I will use flex, and then justify content will be space between, because I want a space in between. Also I will use align items center, and flex wrap will be wrap. Now save. Okay, so this is now in one column because we have to first fix the image sizes. So that's why let's copy these features and then paste it here. Okay, let's copy this complete line and then paste it here. Then I will target the images inside of this parent div. Here I will use a width, and the width will be 50 pixel. Now save, and here you can see that all the images is now in perfect size. And after our width, I want to add a margin, and the margin from top will be 3 rem. Now save. That's it. Now we have some spacing in between our this children div tag. After this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign some fixed width for our this children divs. So that's why inside our FE box, we have created multiple divs for these children div tags. And here I will use a width of 200 pixel. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that we have our children div tags, which is now taking 200 pixel of width. So that is it for our this feature section. And now we have to make this feature section responsive, because right now we are in large screen device. So for a small screen device, I will simply inspect my website. And here you can see that in our small screen device, this section is actually still taking 200 pixel of width, but I think I will simply change the width. So that's why let's go to our media query breakpoint. And first of all, I will select the arrow, and then I will simply hover on the parent div. And here you can see that we have 200 pixel of width. So I will simply copy this rule and then paste it here. And here I will use a width of 40%. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that our this div tag is now looking good in our small screen device. Okay, so after creating our feature section, now let's go to our project website. And if we scroll down, here you can see that we have our another section, which is the job listing section. And inside our job listing section, we have a H2, which is section heading, and then we have a paragraph, and underneath of this we have a filter option. Here we can actually filter with different keywords, and underneath of our this filter section we have our all the job listings. Now we will create our this listing section. So for creating our this listing section, let's go inside our index.html file, and here inside our job listing section, let's create a section. And for this section, I will simply copy this complete class name from our feature section and then paste it here. But for our listing section, I will simply change this class name, and this class names will be jobs. That's it. And inside our job listing section, first of all, we have to create a H2 for our section heading. I will simply copy this heading and then paste it here. Then I will create a paragraph tag, and I will copy this paragraph and then paste it here. Now after creating our section heading and paragraph, we have to create our this filter. So for creating this filter, we have to create another list, and here I will use a class, and the class name will be job ID. And here I will create some list tags, and the name will be recent jobs. I will simply copy this list tag and then paste it 3 more times. This one will be freelance. This one will be full-time, and this one will be part-time. Now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our job in demand section and our text, and then our filter sections as well. Okay, so after creating our this another list, let's go to our website, and now we have to start creating our this listings. So for creating our this listings, underneath of our another list, let's create a div tag. Again, it will be a parent div tag. We have to use the class name, and the class name will be jobs container. And inside our parent div tag, we have to create some list tags, and here I will use a class name for these list tags, and this one will be JList. And inside our list, we have to create our these listings. And inside our listings, first we have an image, then we have a small heading, then we have a paragraph, and then we have a key here. Okay, so let's create our image first. So for images, we have our images folder, and inside our images folder, we have our google.png. And then let's create a H3, and H3 will be web developer. And then let's create a paragraph, and the paragraph will be the pay rate, which is 900 to 1200 per month. And then we have to create a span tag, and it will be the key, which is full-time. Now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our image, we have our smaller heading, our pay rate, and our keyword. So for this keyword, I will use an ID here, and the ID will be key. That's it. Now inside our list tag, we have to do one more thing. We have to use data item, and it will be the key name, which is full time. Now we have to connect our this list item, this data item, with our this list tag. So for connecting with one each other, inside our this filter section for our this list tag, we have to use a data target, and this data target name will be the exact this keyword, which is full time. This keyword and our this data item keyword should be same. If the keyword is not matching, then this filter will not work. Now like this, we have to create this for other list tags as well. But what we have to do, we have to simply change them. So for recent jobs, if anyone click this filter recent jobs, then I want to show all the jobs. So that's why that data item would be all. Then for this freelancer, the data target will be freelancer. And for our this part-time filter, we have to use a part-time keyword. That's it. Okay, let's capitalize this. That's it. Now save. Now like our this list item, we have to simply create multiple list item like this. Here you can see that now we have multiple list items. This one is our first one, which is the Google, and here the data item is full-time. And here we have created another list tag for our Uber, and here the data item is freelancer because this is a freelancer listing. And then we have a part-time listing as well. Then we have our full-time again, and then part-time again. Now save, and here you can see that now we have all the listings in our website. Now we have done with our HTML. Now let's go inside our style sheet and style our this section. Okay, so in our website here you can see that we have our section heading and a paragraph, and then we have our this filter section. Now we have to start styling our this filter section. So for doing that, let's copy this jobs class name from here and then paste it here. Then I will simply copy this job ID class name and then paste it here. First of all, I will add some margin on the top. So that's why margin top will be 3 rem. Now save, and here you can see that now we have some spacing on the top. After our margin, right now they are actually in one column, but I want them in row. So that's why it will be display flex, and then justify content will be a space between. Then align items will be centered. Now save, and here you can see that they are now in one row, but I don't want any bullet points. That's why list as style will be none. That's it. Now what I want to do is I want to add a box shadow. So let's do it. The X value will be 2 pixel. The Y value will be 2 pixel as well. And the depth of our shadow will be 15 pixel. Then I need a RGBA color. This one will be 0.1. Now save. That's it. After this one, now let's style our list inside our job ID. First of all, I want to add some padding, and the padding from top and bottom will be 20 pixel, from left and right it will be 40 pixel, and then cursor will be pointer, and the color will be black. Now save. Now here you can see that we have our all the listings. Okay, so after styling our this listing section, what we have to do, we have to make our this listing section work. Okay, here you can see that first of all I will simply add this color effect. Here you can see that if I select any one of category, then that category is selected until I choose a new category. So I want this functionality. So for creating this functionality, we have to write some script. We have to write some JavaScript code. So for doing that, let's go to our folder, and then I will simply create a new file, which will be script.js. Now here what we have to do is we have to simply create a variable, and inside this variable I will store our all this category name. So that's why let's take a variable, and the variable name will be sort buttons. And therefore getting all the buttons, let's go inside our document dot query selector all, and if I go to our index, here you can see that we have a job ID class for our this parent div. Now I will simply add that class name. Now one thing you have to must remember, if you are using query selector all, then if you are using a class name inside that parameter, then you have to use a dot. Don't forget this. Okay, so this will be dot job ID, and I don't want to actually target our job ID div tag. I want to target this insider elements. So that's why I will use an arrow and then I will use a asterisk symbol. It means I am targeting everything inside job ID. Now for creating this selective feature, what we have to do, we have to use for each function because we have multiple category here. So that's why using for each function will be much easier. So for using for each function, first of all, we have to take our variable name, which is sort buttons, and then we have to use for each. And then from our for each function, I want to target a specific buttons. So that's why it will be button. And then I will create a arrow function. Now inside our this arrow function, what I'm going to do is, if I select a category, then I want to highlight that category. So for highlighting this category, first of all, we have to use a event listener on that button. So that's why first we need to take the button and then we have to add an event listener. And the event listener name would be click. And then let's open a function. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to simply create a new class name for our this background color. Okay. If I select on this button, then I want to only add that background color for that selected button. So for doing that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to again copy this sort button and then paste it inside our button event listener. And then I will do an arrow function. And inside that arrow function, I want to add a class name to that specific button. So that's why let's take our button and then I will add a class name. So that's why it will be class list dot add and then the class name. So the class name will be active. Okay, so after selecting one category, if anyone wants to select another category, then what we have to do, we have to simply shift or remove that class for our previously selected category, and then we have to add that class name for our new selected category. So that's why we have to use button dot class list dot add, it will be removed, and that class name which is active. Now save. First of all, we have to link our this script file with our index file, otherwise it will not work. Let's create a script with source and it will be script.js. And then let's go inside our style sheet. And here we have to simply create that active class for our this list. So that's why I will use a dot and then active. That's it. And here I will simply add a background color. Background color will be this one, and then I will change the font color, which will be white. That's it. Now save. And if I go to our website, and now I want to see if it is working or not. If I click on this recent jobs button, okay, I think we have done something wrong in our script file. Okay, here you can see that for our sort buttons, we have added that class list active. So basically what this sort buttons is, it is actually the container of all these categories. So that's why whenever I am using add for that sort buttons, it means it is actually adding the background color for all the categories, but I don't want that. So here instead of add, it will be remove. And for our this button, instead of remove, it will be add. That's it. Now save. And if I now click on this recent jobs again, here you can see that our recent job is selected. And if I now click on this freelancer, our freelancer is selected. If I now click on this part-time, full-time, they are now changing the background color and they are still highlighting that selected category. So this functionality is working pretty good. So after this, now we have to style our this listings. So for doing that, let's go inside our index.html, and from here we have to copy our this JList class name and then paste it here. But first we have to add our this jobs class name. Okay. So now here you can see that our this image, our this heading and our this text, they are now in one column, but I want them in one row. So for doing that, previously we have used flex, but for our this section, I'm going to use grid. Okay. So that's why let's use display grid. and then I will use create template columns, and it will be repeat 4, and the all 4 columns will take 1 frame. Now save, and here you can see that they are now actually in 1 row, but for this image issue it is not showing properly. But we will fix this now. I will simply copy this class name and then paste it here. Then I will target the image inside of it, and here I will use a width of 40 pixels. Now save, and here you can see that our all the images is now taking 40 pixels of width. And now we can see this grid system is working properly. Okay, now what you have to do, between this listing and this category section, we don't have any spacing. So that's why I will simply use a margin top, and it will be 3 Now save. That's it. Okay, now let's style these listings a little bit more. So that's why I will use a border, and the border from all around it will be 1 pixel solid, and the color will be this one. Now save. Now here you can see that this complete row is not actually in the center. So for fixing this issue, we have to use align items, and it will be center. Now save, and here you can see that everything is now in center, but still this text, this heading is not in center. We will fix this in a bit. So here I will use another property, and it will be justify items, and it will be a start. Then I will use a cursor pointer, and then I will change the text color, and it will be black. Now save. That's it. Now I will add some padding inside these listings. So that's why let's take our padding, and the padding from top and bottom will be 2 rem. From left and right it will be 2 rem as well. Okay, now we have to fix this spacing issue. Here you can see that this heading is actually adding some spacing underneath of it. So that's why I will simply inspect the website by selecting it. If I select the arrow, and if I hover on our heading, here you can see that we have a colored area. So I will simply click on this, and from here you can see that we have a padding bottom 1 rem. So I don't want that. So for removing this padding, I will simply copy this rule from here and then paste it here. But in order to fix this, for only this section, we have to copy these class names as well. Otherwise, it will change the padding for all the sections, but I don't want that. So that's why from inside here, I will simply change the padding bottom, and here it will be 0. Now save. And here you can see that we don't have any other spacing underneath of this heading. That's it. Now if I hover on these listings, I want to add some hover effect. So for doing that, I will simply copy this class name and then paste it here. Then I will use a hover, and I will simply change the background color, and the color will be this one. Now save. And if I now hover, here you can see that we have a background color changing. That's it. So now our job listing is also done. We have beautifully styled our listings. Now what I want to do, I want to actually make this category selection working, like this one. Here you can see that if I select recent jobs, it is now showing all the jobs. If I click on this freelancer, then it is only showing us the freelancer listing. So I want that for this here. So for doing that, let's go to our script file, and we have to add few lines inside our script file. So for doing that, we have to create another variable for these job listings, and the variable name will be sort items. And inside this sort items variable, I want to contain all the listings. So that's why I will use document.query selector all. Again, we have to select our parent div, which is our job container. I will simply copy this class name, and then again add a dot and then the class name. And I don't only want to target the container, I want to target what is inside of it. That's why I'm going to use an asterisk option. Now what we have to do is, we have to go inside our this for each function and inside our this add event listener, and then we have to collect some keywords. So for collecting some keywords, first of all we have to take a variable and we have to store that keyword inside a variable, and the variable name will be target data. So for doing that, if I go inside our index, here you can see that we have our all the category, and inside our this list we have some data target, and inside our this data target property we have our keyword. Now we want these keywords. So for getting these keywords, we have to take our button, and from inside our button we have to take get attributes, and then we have to add that attribute name, which is data target. Now copy this and then paste it here. That's it. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to again create a for each function because we have multiple listings here. So that's why using for each function will be a better choice. And we are going to use for each function for our this sort items variable, sort items dot for each. And each time we will target one single item. So that's why it will be item. And then we have to create a arrow function. And inside our this item, what we have to do is, we have to simply filter the data. It means if I click on this full-time button or category, then I want to show only the full-time listings. So what we are doing is, if I select on this full-time category, then I am only keeping the full-time listings and I'm going to remove other listings. So for removing those listings, we have to create again a class name. So first let's do it. Inside our style.css, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply copy this JList and then paste it here. Then let's create a class name which will be delete. So for this delete class name, I will simply use display none. Now I will use this delete class name for our this sort items function. So for doing that, let's target our item dot class list. Then we have to add our newly created class name, which is delete. That's it. Now save. After our item and the delete class name, I'm going to use a condition. And inside this condition, I'm going to do the filtering work. It means I'm going to actually see if our this data targeted keyword and our this list keyword, data item keyword is matching or not. So let's do that. Let's go inside our if function, and here I'm going to use item dot get attribute, and I will take our this data item attribute and then paste it here. If our data item is equal to our target data, here you can see that we have created a variable targeted data, and inside our this variable we have actually stated our this category data target. And now inside our this if function, I'm going to actually matching those data item and the targeted data. Suppose this data item keyword is freelancer and this targeted data is also freelancer, then these both are now matching, and I only want to show that freelancer related listing. And for that, I want to remove the delete class name for those listings. So for doing that, we have to use item dot class list dot remove, and here we have to add that class name, which is delete. That's it. Now save. And if I now scroll down here, you can see that right now we have our all the listings. If I now click on this freelancer button, it is now only showing our freelancer related listing. That's it guys, our filter option is now completely working. If I now click on this full time, it is only showing us the full time listing. If I click on this part time, it is now showing us all the part time listing. Now I want to see if our this recent job is working or not, because this recent job should be contain our all the listings. If I click on this recent jobs, here you can see that this recent job is not working. So it is because initially all the items is actually having that delete class name, and this delete class name is actually removing all the items. Now what I want to do is, if I click on this recent jobs, then I want to remove that delete class name for all the listing. So for doing that, inside our this if condition, I'm going to use a OR operator like this, and then I will use target data, and if it is equal to all, then I will remove all the delete class names. Now save, and if I scroll down, here you can see that we have this section recent jobs, and right now all the listings are selected. If I now click on the freelancer, we can see only the freelancing listing. If I click on this part-time, we can only see the part-time listing. And now I want to see if our recent job is working or not. Let's click on this, and here you can see that this recent job is now showing us all the listings. We just have created a complete working filter section for our job listing. Now here one thing I want to do is, if I refresh the website, here you can see that none of these categories selected. But here at the bottom we can see all the listings. It means this recent jobs item should be selected by default. So for doing that, what we have to do, let's go to our style sheet, and if I scroll down, here you can see that we have created a class name for our that background effect. So I will simply use this class name for our this first list, okay, which is recent jobs. So here inside our list tag, I will simply add a class name, and the class name will be active. Now save, and here you can see that this recent job category is now selected by default. Now here you can see that using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, we have created our filter section, and we have made our filter section working. Now what we have to do, we have to see if this section is looking good in our small screen device or not. If I inspect the website, here you can see that it is not looking good. That's why now we have to make this section responsive as well. So for doing that, let's go to our style.css, and let's go inside our media query. So first of all, I want to fix this category section. They are not looking good, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to first select that section, which is our job ID. And from here, I will simply copy the rules and then paste it here. And here what I want to do is, right now they are actually in one row, which is okay. But they are creating some extra spacing on the right side of our website. So that's why we have actually now a slider, and I don't want that. What I want to do is, I want to slide this complete section from left to right for our small screen device, but not the complete screen. So for doing that, what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to use a position relative, and then I will use a width of 100%. Then I will use overflow X, and it will be a scroll. And then I will use another property for different browser. It will be -ms -overflow -style, and this one will be none. If I now save this website, and here you can see that we can now actually slide this complete section from left to right, which is great. But here you can see that if I scroll, we have a scroll bar at the bottom, but I don't want that. So for removing that, I want to use a property, and it will be scroll bar width, and it will be none. Now save, and if I scroll, here you can see that at the bottom we have no scroll bar. This is so amazing, guys. Okay, so after this, I don't want to change any other stylings from this job ID. So that's why I will remove these stylings. Now here you can see that for our small screen device, this text is actually wrapping them for the lack of width, but I don't want that. So that's why I will simply target those listings, and I will copy this class name and then paste it here. And here what I want to do is I will change the padding. So padding for top and bottom will be 20 pixel, but from left and right it will be 30 pixel. And here instead of cursor and color, I'm going to use text wrap and it will be no wrap. Now save. And here you can see that our text breaking issue is now solved. Now if I scroll here, you can see that we can scroll from left and right. Now after our this scroller section, I want to style our this listing section as well. So for doing that, what we have to do, I will simply target our these listings and I will copy this rule for our these listings and then paste it here. First of all, I will use a width of 40% and the margin top will be 1 rem. And I don't want to change the display grid, but I will change the template column. Here you can see that we have now 4 columns, but right now for our small screen device, I want 1 column and 1 frame. Then I will use grid. That's it. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that we have our all the listings. Okay, let's increase the width. It will be 48%, not 40%. That's it. After doing this, I want to add some grid gap and it will be 15 pixel. And then I don't want to change any other things from here, but I will change the padding. And the padding from top and bottom will be 2 rem, but from left and right it will be 1 rem. That's it. And then I will align the text and it will be center. Then justify content will be center as well. That's it. But here you can see that now our this boxes is now in 1 column, but I want them in 1 row. So that's why let's target our container, our parent div. And here you can see that it is not showing any stylings because we didn't create any. So that's why I will simply target our jobs container div tag. And here I will use display flex. Then justify content will be a space between. Then flex wrap will be wrap. Now save. And here you can see that we have now all the boxes in rows. Now I want some extra spacing on the top of our this section. So that's why let's add margin top and it will be 2 rem. Now save. That's it. I want all the properties to be in center. So that's why here you can see that we have used justify content, but it will be justify items because we are using grid system inside our JListing. So that's why it will be justify items center. Now save. That's it. Here you can see that all the text and all the images is now in 1 column in center. So guys, here you can see that we have successfully created our filter section so that we can filter different jobs. And also we have made this section responsive for a small screen device as well. Now after our this job listing section, we have to create our this trust section. And for creating this section, let's go inside our index.html file, close this section. And here underneath of our brand section, let's create a section tag. And I will again copy these class names from here and then paste it here. I will change this class name and it will be trust. And inside this section, I will create a AS2 for our this heading. And then I will create a paragraph for our this text. Now after creating our section heading and paragraph, we have to add our these images. So for doing that, let's create a div tag. And here I will use a class name and it will be tbox. And here I'm going to create our image. And we have our image inside our images folder. And the image name is t1.png. Now save. And if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our section heading, paragraph, and our 1 image. Now I will copy this image tag and paste it 5 more times. And let's change the image names. That's it. Now save. And here you can see that we have our all the images. Now let's style our this section. For doing that, let's go to our a style.css, and underneath of our jobs, let's write our trust class name, and let's take this tbox class name as well, and then paste it here. And here I will use display flex, then align items center, then flex wrap will be wrap. That's it. After this, let's copy our this class names again, and then target our image. And here I will use a width of 100 pixel, and then object fit will be cover. And inside our tbox, I'm going to use justify content, and it will be a space between. That's it. Okay, so for our large screen device, I don't want to add any width and object fit, but here instead I will use margin, and the margin from top it will be 1 rem, from right it will be 1 rem, from bottom it will be 1 rem, and from left it will be 0. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that our all the images is looking good, and they are now taking equal space. Now I want to add some spacing on the top, so that's why I will use padding top, and it will be 3 rem. That's it. Now this section is looking good for our large screen device. If I inspect the website, and here you can see that this section is looking good for our small screen device as well. And we have successfully created our brand section for our website as well. Now after creating our brand section, we have to start creating our this theme section. So for creating our this theme section, let's go inside our index.html file, and I will simply copy this previous section, and then I will paste it here, and the class name will be theme. Then we will have our section space and object width. For our h2, it will be highest rated freelancer, and the paragraph will be same. And I will simply remove everything from inside this div tag and this class name as well. And the class name will be theme container. And inside our this parent div tag, we have to create children div tags for our these profiles. So that's why we have to add a class name here as well, and the class name will be f1-box. And for our profile, first of all, we have to use the image, and the images will be inside our images folder -1.png. And after our image, let's create a h3, and we have to add this person name inside our h3. And then we have to create a div tag for our these keywords. Also, I'm going to use a class name, and it will be skill. And for our these keywords, what we have to do is, if you guys remember, we have also created some keywords for our these listings. So I will simply copy that keyword from our job section. Here you can see that we have created a span. Now I will copy this span and then close this section, and then paste it 3 more times. And our first one will be HTML, and the second one will be CSS, and the third one will be JS. Now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our section heading, paragraph, image, the person name, and the keywords. After that, we have to create our this button as well. So for our this button, we have to create an anchor tag, and the button name would be view profile. For now, the href will be hash. And here what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a global button name. So that's why let's create an ID, and the global button name will be g.button. If you guys remember, we have already created this global button inside our style sheet. If I now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our pre-made global button. Now like this, I will simply copy this div tag and then paste it 3 more times. Now save, and then I will change the images and the names. Now save, and if we scroll down here, you can see that we have now different images and the different person names as well. Now after this, we have to style our this section. So for styling this section, first of all, I will take our this team container class name from here and then paste it underneath of our trust section. And as you can see that now our all the profiles is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why I will use display flex. Then justify content will be space between, and then align items will be center. Then flex wrap will be wrap. Now save. That's it. Now here you can see that all the profiles is now in one row. After styling our container, we have to start styling our these profiles. So for doing that, I will simply copy this class name and then paste it here. Then we can target our this class names and then paste it here. First of all, I will use a border, and the border from all around it will be 1 pixel solid, and the color will be this one, and I will use a width of 280 pixel, and then I will add some padding inside. Padding from top and bottom will be 2 rem, from left and right it will be 0. Then I will use a border radius and it will be 20 pixel, and I will use some margin top and it will be 3 rem from everyone. Now save, and here you can see that this is our profile card. Now we have to start positioning our these properties. So for doing that, I'm going to use display flex. Then flex direction will be column. Then justify content will be center. And then align items will be center as well. Now save. And here you can see that our all the text and our all the images, all the buttons is now in center. Now after doing this, let's start styling our these images. So for doing that, I will simply copy this class name and then paste it here. Then target our image. Here I will use a border radius and it will be 50% because I want all the images to be in circle shape. So that's why it will be 50%. And then I will use margin bottom 1 rem as well. Now save. And here you can see that our profile images is now in circle shape. After this, then I want to style our these keywords. So for styling these keywords, we have to take our this key ID from here and then paste it here. First of all, I will change the font size and it will be 0.8 rem. Then I will add a background color, which will be this one. Then I want to add some padding, and the padding from top and bottom will be 10 pixel. From left and right it will be 20 pixel. Then I will use a border radius of 20 pixel as well. Now save, and here you can see that our this keyword is now looking very beautiful. And by just using only this global CSS, we have also styled our these keywords as well. Now after doing this, I want to add some spacing underneath of our this keyword. So for doing that, let's go, and here we have a skill div tag for our this parent div. I will simply copy this class name and then paste it here. Then I will use padding bottom and it will be 3 rem. Now save, and here you can see that we have some spacing underneath of our this skill section. Now guys, here you can see that we have successfully created our team section for our large screen device. Now we have to see if our this team section is looking good in our small screen device or not. So for doing that, let's inspect the website. And here you can see that in our small screen device, they are in one column, but they have some extra space in the right side. So we have to fix this. So for fixing this issue, we have to go inside our breakpoint. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the arrow and then select the profile card. And then from here, I will simply copy the rules and then paste it here. First of all, I will change the width. Here the width will be 48%. I don't want to change the border color. Then I don't want to change the padding. Border radius will be 10 pixel. And the margin top will be 1 rem. And then I don't want to change any other things. So that's why I will simply remove these stylings. Now save. And here you can see that they are now perfectly fit inside our small screen device. But this text is not actually center. So that's why I will use a text line and it will be center. Now save. And here you can see that all the text is now center. And for our small screen device, the space between these two sections is too big. So that's why I will simply click on that section and I will simply take this class name from here and then paste it here. So I will simply change the padding button. It will be 1 rem. Now save. Okay, I think I should keep this underneath of our box. That's it. Now here you can see that we have successfully created our team section. We have successfully made our team section responsive as well. Now after creating our team section, what we have to do? We have to create our last section, which is our footer. Now we have to create our footer. For creating a footer for this website, let's go inside our index.html file and scroll down to the bottom. And underneath of this last section, which was our team section, we have a footer section as well. Now we have to create our footer. So for creating our footer, let's take a footer tag and then let's give a class name, and the class name will be footer as well. And inside our footer, first of all, I'm going to create a container. So let's create a container, and this container is basically for taking the specific width for our website. So that's why we have already defined a object width global class, and inside this container we have to create a small containers for containing these links, these community links, help links, and other links as well. So that's why let's create our first div, and here I'm going to create a class name, and the class name will be top. And this div tag is basically for this section. We have a logo and we have our social media icons. So this div container will contain these two objects. So now let's create another div tag, and inside our div tag we are going to store our logo and this text. So that's why let's create an image tag, and then I'm going to first add a class name, and the class name will be logo. And then inside our source, I'm going to find our images folder, and inside our images folder we have our logo.png. That's it. And then we have to create a paragraph, and inside our paragraph I will simply copy this text from here and then paste it here. That's it. Now after this div tag, we have to create another div tag for these social media icons. So for doing that, let's create a div tag, and then let's create some anchor tag. And inside our href, I'm going to insert a link, and the link will be my YouTube channel link. That's it. And here inside our anchor tag, we have to add this Facebook icon. So for adding this icon, what you have to do, we have to simply search for box icon. And here we have to search our icon. So I'm going to add a Facebook icon. So that's why I'm going to take this Facebook icon from here. Select the font and then copy this icon tag and then paste it here. And similarly like this, I'm going to insert our Instagram, Behance, and the Twitter icon as well. That's it. Now here you can see that on the top we have our Facebook, and then we have our Instagram, then we have our Behance, and then we have our Twitter icon as well. Now save, and if I go to our website, here you can see that we have our logo, we have our text, and we have our social media icons. Okay, so after inserting our logo and these social media icons, first I want to style this div tag. So that's why let's go to our style sheet. And underneath of our key, I'm going to add a comment, and it will be footer. That's it. Okay. Now I'm going to take our footer tag, and here I'm going to add some styling. First of all, I will change the background color. So that's why let's add a background and the color will be this one. Then I will change the text color as well, and the text color will be white. Now save. And that's it. Now here you can see that we have changed our background color and our text color as well. Now I want to add some padding from top and bottom. So that's why let's add some padding. And the padding from top and bottom will be 4 rem, and from left and right it will be 0. Now save. And here you can see that now we have some spacing on the top and bottom. After this, I want to style this top section. So that's why I'm going to simply copy this top class from here and then paste it here. First of all, here you can see that our this logo and our this icons is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why I'm going to use display flex, and then I'm going to use align items center, then text align will be a start, then justify content will be a space between. Now save. And here you can see that in the left side we have our logo, and in the right side we have our social media icons. And here I'm going to add another property which is flex wrap. It will be wrap. That's it. Now let's fix the width of our this logo. So that's why copy this top class name and then paste it here. Then we have a class name for our logo as well, which is logo. Simply copy this class name from here and then paste it here. And I'm going to use a width of 170 pixel. Then I'm going to use a margin bottom, and the margin bottom will be 1 rem. Now save. And here you can see that our logo is now perfect. After this, let's style these social media icons. So that's why I'm going to copy this top again. And from here, I'm going to target our icons. So that's why let's add I. And here I'm going to change the colors, and the colors will be white. Then I'm going to use a font size of 2 rem. Then I want some spacing in between them. So that's why margin left will be 0.5 rem. Now save. And here you can see that we have our beautiful social media icons. And after this one, I'm going to start creating our this bottom section for our links. So that's why let's go to our footer, and underneath of our this top div tag, I'm going to create another div tag, and the class name of this div tag will be bottom. And inside our this bottom div tag, first of all, I'm going to create our this section. So that's why let's create another div tag, and inside our div tag, I'm going to create our h3 for our this title, and our title will be project. And then I'm going to create some anchor tags. For now, it will be hash because I don't want to insert any links inside our href property. And the link name will be catalog. That's it. And I'm going to simply copy this link tag from here and then paste it 3 more times. And this one will be a status. And this one will be license. And this one will be all version. Now for this project, I have created this dummy footer. But if you really want to create this project seriously, then I will recommend you to add these footer links according to your project. Okay, now save. And if I go to our website, here you can see that we have all the links. Now what I will do is I will simply create 3 more div tag like this. That's it. Like our project div tag, we have created our community help div tag, and then we have created our others div tag as well. Now save. And here you can see that we have our titles and we have our links as well. Now we have to style our this section. So for styling this section, let's take this bottom class name from here and then paste it here. First of all, I will add some spacing on the top because in between of our top class and our this bottom class, we don't have any space. So that's why padding top, and it will be 2 rem. Now save. That's it. After this one, let's add text align, and it will be a start. Then I will use display flex because right now all the div tag is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why it will be display flex. And then justify content will be a space between. Then I will use flex wrap. Now save. After this, now let's target our these links because they are now in one column as well, and we have to place them in one row. So that's why I will simply copy this bottom class and then paste it here. And for targeting our this div, we have to take our this div tag, and here I'm going to use display flex, and then flex direction will be column. Now save, and here you can see that now all the links in one column. Okay, now let's start styling our these links. So for doing that, I'm going to simply copy this bottom class from here and then paste it here. Then target our anchor tag. First of all, I will remove the underlines. So that's why it will be text decoration none. Then I will change the color, and the color will be white. And then I will use a line height, and it will be 35 pixel. Then I will use a font size of 1.1 gram. Now save, and here you can see that our links is now looking pretty good. Okay, now here you can see that in our large screen device, our footer is looking pretty good. Now we have to make our this footer responsive for small screen devices as well. So for doing that, let's inspect our website. And from here, I will select a small screen device. And here you can see that our footer is not looking good in our large screen device. So that's why we have to make our this footer responsive. And for doing that, let's go inside our media query. And let's scroll down to the bottom. And here I'm going to add a comment first, and it will be footer. And then what I'm going to do is I will target our this bottom div text. So for doing that, let's click on this arrow button, and then I will select our this parent div tag. Okay, I am unable to select the parent div, so that's why I will simply go here and I will select our this div. And here you can see that we have some class names for our bottom div text. So I will simply copy this class name from here and then paste it here. And here I'm going to use a width, and it will be 50%. Now save. And here you can see that they are now aligned properly inside our small screen device. After this one, now I want our this social media icons to be in one column as well. So that's why I will simply target our these icons. And here you can see that from here we have our this icon, and also we have a class name. We have some rules for our this icon. So I will simply copy these rules from here and then paste it here. And here you can see that we have a property margin left. So I will simply change this margin left property. And for our this icons margin, I'm going to use 1 rem from top, 1 rem from left, 0 from bottom, and 0 from right. That's it. Now save. And now here you can see that our social media icons are now in one column. Okay. So after this, here you can see that we have our project div tag, and here is our help div tag. But we don't have any space in between them. So that's why inside our this bottom div, I'm going to use a margin bottom, and it will be 50 pixel. Now save. And here you can see that now we have some spacing underneath of our this project and our this help section. Now this is looking much better in our small screen device as well. So that's it guys. Here you can see that we have successfully created our footer section for our website. And this footer section is looking beautiful in our large screen device and our small screen device as well. And by saying that, here you can see that we have successfully created our homepage for our job portal website. And also we have made our this homepage responsive for a small screen device as well. And this homepage is looking very professional for a job portal website. Now before we start creating our other pages, I want to show you one more thing. If we go to in our actual website, here you can see that for all the sections, we have some spacing from the left side and from the right side as well. Here you can see that for our Navbar, for our this feature section, and for our this job section, for all the sections, we have some spacing from left and right side. Now I want to do the same for our this website as well. Here you can see that we don't have any space from left and right for our all the components. So for adding some space from left and right for our entire page, what we have to do is we have to create another breakpoint. Now let's create it. If we go to the top of our code, here you can see that we have our object width 1200 pixel, and this object width is actually inside our all the components. Now what we have to do, we have to simply change the width section in a new breakpoint. So for doing that, I'm going to simply copy this object width global class, and then I will scroll down. And before this media query, I'm going to create another media query. And here we have to add a max width, and a max width will be 1200 pixel. And inside this newly created media query, I will simply paste our object width. And from this global CSS, I don't want to change the margin, but I will change the max width. Here instead of max width, it will be only width, and the value will be 95%. It means this object will take 95% of the screen if we encounter into this newly created breakpoint. Now if I save, and boom guys, here you can see that by just changing one component, our complete website is now having left and right space. Now we can say that we have successfully created a professional responsive homepage for our job portal website. Okay, after creating our first part of our JS Tech project, now we have to upload that first part in our hosting so that we can share the online link of our project. So for doing that, let's go to the hosting dashboard, and from here now we have to set up our hosting. So that's why let's click on this setup button, and from here we have to select the option. I'm going to go with myself or my business, and then click on the next. Since we are creating our own website, that's why I will simply select the first option, which is I will create a website, then next. And here we have two options, one is WordPress and one is hosting a web builder. We are not going to select any one of them because we are creating our website with custom coding. So that's why I will simply click on this skip button, and here we can see our domain name. Now click on this domain name and then click the next button. Now from here you can select your region. I'm going to go with Indonesia, and then click on this next button, and here you can see that right now our hosting is being set up. Okay, now from here we have to first set up some of the things, but before doing that, let's visit our domain name, which is mega-by-tech2etc.com. And right now here you can see that we have a hosting our default page. Now let's go to our dashboard, and from here you can see that we have an error and it is saying your domain is not connected to Hostinger. So for resolving this error, refresh your website after some time, and after refreshing, Hostinger dashboard should look like this. Yes, right now we don't have any error. Now we can upload our project in our file manager. So for uploading our project, we can simply click on this file manager, or we can click on these files and then go to the file manager from here. We have to select one of them. Since I'm going to upload my project inside mega-by-tech2etc.com, so I'm going to select this one. And it will redirect you to your file manager where you can upload your project. So for uploading your project, you have to simply go inside this public_HTML folder. And here you can see that we have a default.php file, and this file is basically this one. So instead of our default.php, we're going to upload our own files. So for doing that, simply click on this upload button, and from here you have to select one option. So I will go with the file option, and then go inside your job folder, then select everything and then click on open. And here you can see that our index.html our style.css and our toggle.js file is now uploaded in our file manager. Now after this one, we have to upload our images folder as well. So that's why I will simply click on this upload button once again, and at this time I'm going to select our folder, and then I will select our images folder and then click on upload button and then click on upload again, and boom, now here you can see that our images folder is now uploaded in our file manager. Now if I go to our domain name megabytech2etc.com and if I refresh our website, boom, here you can see that our home page is now showing in our website. This is so easy guys, so easy. Uploading your files and folders in Hostinger is one of the easiest thing that you can do. In this part 1, we have created homepage of our JS Tech project, and in our next part, we are going to create our browse jobs page, and also we are going to create dynamic structure for our job details page. The link of the part 2 of this course will be given in the description. That's it guys. I hope you guys are learning a lot of things from this course, and if you guys really do, then please do subscribe this channel, like this video and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this video, then please do let me know in my comment section. That's it guys. See you in our next part.